Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is day 14 out of Devotionals. Let's get started out of this book right here. Because God wanted to make the unchanging nature of his purpose very clear to the hearers of what was promised, he confirmed it with an oath. God did this so that by two unchangeable things in which it is impossible for God to lie, we who have fled to take hold of the hope set before us may be greatly encouraged. Hebrews chapter 6 verses 17 through 18. Do you ever look around at your life and wonder, how did I get here? Sometimes it's a positive question. We see all the rich blessings of our lives and we're overwhelmed by God's goodness. Other times we see one giant mess of hurt, anxiety, disappointment, disaster, even neglect or abuse. Even if you have experienced the latter, these words are still for you. God is at work in your life. He's watching, involved, engaged in your life when you're at school and when you're at home. He's with you whether you're feeling happy or sad, frustrated or thrilled. He's at work in your life when everything is sailing along just as you hoped it would. And he's at work in your life when it seems like nothing is going right. That's because his purpose, since the beginning of his dealings with mankind, hasn't changed, and that purpose is to bring his adored children back to himself. He's working to that end this very second, whether our circumstances are the result of God's abundant mercy or the sin of this fallen world. He is there and he's drawing you close, adored one. And I'm going to close the door now. Shut. For some reason it keeps opening. So I might have to leave it the way it is. So when I say outside, so you guys should definitely try to take the time out if you can to go outside, enjoy the nice weather. It's starting to get really warm outside, so I'm gonna go into detail now. So hold on, I'm gonna try to make this devotional kind of quick because I have school now. I'm going back to school. Yesterday was my last day of spring break. So if you feel like you're alone and you feel like you're going through the hard situations all alone, like you feel like you're the only one who's going through it, and you feel like that you have nobody to turn to, well, remember that you're not alone. Remember that God is with you, and that that God is fighting your battles, and that God is with you, and that he's walking every step of the way with you through the hard times and good, and that you're loved, and that even when people walk out of your life, that God will never leave you nor forsake you. And we have this question in our heads. It's like, why? How did I get here? Well, yes, I've thought of this question many times. When I read when I seen this in this devotional, I was like, wow, I do ask myself that a lot of times. That's the very thought that comes to my head, and I'm like, how did I get here? How did I get? For example, it could be positive or negative. Like, how did I get this far? Like, how did I get here? Like how did I get where God wants me to be? Like, to be where he wants me to be, like in like working with the kids ministry and being on the kids worship team and the youth worship team, with having this strong of a relationship with God. Because before, I was so far gone. Even when I did have a relationship with God, it wasn't as strong as it is today. I am so grateful I came back to the Lord. Even after all the mistakes I've made, after all the sins I've committed. You can imagine how many. But God still forgives, and he still loves us no matter what. And he was waiting for me with open arms. I came home to him. I came home to God, and I never regretted my decisions since. Never. I've never regretted it. And it's like, it's like God can change your life from the inside out into what He wants it to be. And one of those things is having a stronger relationship with God. And another thing is for God to use you into what He has called you to be. And like it says, like He has told us, we are chosen. We are the chosen ones. And we can't like deny our calling that God has placed in our lives. If we're called into the ministry, like any type of ministry, if we're called into evangelism, if we're called to be in worship, if we're called to work with kids, whatever God has called us to do, we can't deny our calling. We need to be saying yes to God and doing what He has called us to do, and not be afraid to, even if we have to make sacrifices. Even if our family and friends don't support us, we need to keep doing what God wants us to do, and we will get rewarded in the end. At the end of the finish line, God will be waiting for us and saying, "Well done, my child. Welcome home." That's what He's going to say to us. As if we keep spreading the gospel, we keep doing what God wants us to do, we keep having a relationship with God, developing friendships that they also have a strong relationship with God, etc., etc. There's so many things, but God has a purpose for us, and He has a plan for us, and we need to remember that through our good and bad times, that He wants to use us, and we're not alone. We're never alone. And there's this one song that you should hear. It's I Am Not Alone by Kari Jobe. So it's spelled Kari space Jobe. And I think it's a really powerful song, and I think it will apply to everybody who's going through a hard time. Whether it's a very, very small to very big, it can apply to anybody. But God is with us every step of the way, and we need to remember that. And God is an unchanging God, and He will never change. Instead, He wants to be there, and you may feel like He's not there because you may not see Him, you may not feel, but that's faith. We may not see God, but we know He's there. We know God's there, even though we may not see Him. We trust that God is going to be there for us. And we trust that God is going to do a work in our lives and to use us and to be there for her family and friends and keep them safe. We trust that God is going to work in us. And I have a few more minutes. So if I want to keep going on, I have a few more minutes. But just never forget what God has called you to do. Never forget that He loves you, and that He won't leave you nor forsake you, and that you can always turn to Him in prayer, and you can always trust in God. And you can always count on Him, because He will never let you down. Yes, He's gonna say no to things, and you're gonna get disappointed, but those are doors that He wants closed, because those are not what God wants for you, and those are not your best interest at heart, and He knows that He wants the best for you. He doesn't want you to get hurt, and He doesn't want you to fall short in sin, and He doesn't want you to do things you shouldn't. But instead, He will open doors in our lives that He wants opened, that are meant to be in our lives, and that's what God wants us to do. So, never forget that you're never alone. So, I hope you enjoyed this devotional. I hope God spoke to you, and stay tuned for next devotional. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, stay tuned for all my videos. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!